He's Boz. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken podcast, and we're back for another episode, another review, another Christmas time video release for everybody. How you doing, Boz?
I'm good. I'm ready to review. Let's do this.
Did you do something with your camera? You look way further back, or did you just all this running? Have you just shrunk? Boz is standing.
This time next year, I'll come in like this. No, so, I think the screen's just further back. Yeah, I think normally I'm sitting like this. And I'm just like lean back.
So I reached out to Boz and I said, okay, I've got these great ideas for Christmas. One, we're all going to get together, me, Tim, and Sleazy, and we're going to riff on Silent Night, Deadly Night. Do you want in on that? Boz says no. I said, okay. So I got an idea. We're all going to get together. I want to do another movie, Black Christmas. I don't think Boz had seen it, but it wasn't on the level of crap factor that he would just immediately throw it out. He said, okay, I'm in. So here comes the problem. I was like, okay, this is over a week and a half ago. I said, when can you break aside 80, 85, 90 minutes to sit down and do a watch along with us so we can riff on Black Christmas? And he said, I'll let you know. Fast forward to Tuesday, I had something come up and we had to postpone the Ernest Saves Christmas review until today, where at the last minute some stuff came up, and here we are past Boz's bedtime. But Boz is a trooper. He screwed us all on the Black Christmas riff that we'll have to wait a whole year to do.
Oh,
but he's here now, and his time is very valuable. So we got to get to it. He's got to get to bed.
My time is valuable. I'm getting old.
What's your normal bedtime?
If it's 9:30 and I'm not in bed yet, there's a problem.
Now,
what about you?
Well, look, there's some days we put our kid down between 8 and 8:30 is when we try to put her down.
Yeah.
So we're usually in the bed by 9, unless I'm recording or something like that.
Yeah. Like 9:30 is late. I'd say our average is around 9:10 or so. It takes like 30, 40 minutes sometimes for one of these kids to actually
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Are you involved on the putting them to sleep, or is it just the wife?
I am, until it gets to a point where I go like this and just stare at the ceiling. And at that point, I'm like, it's a mom duty thing. They don't care whether you're in there or not. It's all about the mom.
I've never had to be in there. My wife is an angel. She just takes the daughter and they do the little reading time and the singing time and they go to sleep. And I'm in here watching TV, recording podcasts with idiots for people that watch and leave comments like, Billy Loomis can't come back. He got shot in the head. So I have to revert to being mean to these idiots by saying, hey, edit. Watch the video and you'll see that I'm talking about the image of Billy Loomis coming back. Bad thing about our shorts or our videos getting attention from people is when the people tend to reply in the comments, 99% of them are edit. So we don't want to communicate with them. See, the weird thing about the show that we have now, and don't worry, I'm sure most of you already tuned out. We will get to Ernest Saves Christmas because he's going to save this show as well. But when it comes to the people that are on this show, whether it's myself, Blake, Boz, Sleazy, Tandy, or, Tim actually likes people. Tim's a people person.
Oh.
The rest of us don't like you.
Oh, don't like him?
No.
Oh.
Tim, well, are you following the conversation?
You're saying the rest of us don't like the audience.
Well, not necessarily the audience, just people in general. I mean, you may be a social butterfly. I just don't.
No, I'm not.
No, we don't like you. Watch the video, leave your comment. But if you say something stupid, get ready to get hammered. Okay? It's like the guy in Encino Man said, we don't know you. We don't like you. You say some stupid shit, we're all over you. All right. So, Boz, are you super excited about Christmas?
Oh, yeah. Every year. This is my favorite. Well, I mean, we've been decorated for 7 weeks now.
My wife wanted to put the tree up immediately after Thanksgiving.
We put our tree up the first weekend of November.
Really? The first weekend of November?
Every year.
My wife said she would have put it up November 1st if I wasn't weird
you
about
should
it.
do it. Yeah.
If
it falls on the 4th or the 5th or 6th, wherever that is, that's where we put it up.
Put it up in July. Leave it up all year. I don't care. The Christmas tree doesn't bother me. I love it when the Christmas tree's up. I haven't got to the stage yet where I have to do all the decorations. I know that's coming.
Well, see, my thought process is once the time changes and it's dark at like 5 o'clock, I want to
Gotta
see
stay inside.
lights. I
Scary.
want to see lights when you get home. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of our deal. That's why January is so. Once the Christmas lights go away, January is just like so. Everything just looks dull and gray and
We need to do a top X. I got the topic right now. Top 10 best months.
oh, dude, that is yes. I want to do that as soon as possible. That sounds great. I got to make my list though, but I mean, yeah, that's a great topic.
It is. Sleazy had a great idea for a draft the other day. He said best Christmas toys that you've ever gotten over the course. I was like, well, everybody's just going to name the stuff they got that they loved as a kid. He goes, that's the reason it's the best.
Well, yeah, I heard somebody ask that question on a show today, and my immediate thought was that's a good idea. Then I also thought I don't think I can remember a lot of the toys I got. Like I remember the great, like the one or two great ones, but there's
Super
a
Nintendo.
lot. That's a good one.
Super
I don't know
Nintendo.
I don't know if I got that on Christmas though. But yeah, anyway, yeah, that's a good one.
When would you have gotten it?
I don't even know if my brother got the Super Nintendo. He's your age, and I don't know when he got it though.
We had a Slinky, but we straightened it.
We had part of a Slinky, but I straightened it.
I hope
Anyway,
he's doing well now.
I hit Boz with, I got to have somebody to review Ernest Saves Christmas. We've had this YouTube channel for going on 2 years now, or almost 2 years. We haven't reviewed Ernest Saves Christmas. Blake's busy. He can't do it. And then Boz is like,
Okay, here's the thing. I was excited about watching this movie.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's actually what he said. Boz, do you want to review Ernest Saves Christmas?
Dude.
Dude, I was born to watch this movie, review this movie. I've seen this movie well over 10 times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I saw
Now,
it 10 times this month.
now 9 of those times were all before like 1996, probably. So rewatching it now, boy, there's a new light to it.
So instead of doing sort of like what we did with Gremlins, instead of doing just the typical, let's start at the beginning and meet at the end review, I told Boz, give me your top 3 moments from Ernest Saves Christmas. I'll give my top 3 moments. And just so we can be fair, here's a synopsis of the movie. Santa Claus comes to Orlando. He's looking to pass the power off to Joe Carruthers, who's a PBS type host who just lost his job. Along the way, he meets Ernest. He loses his bag. All the hilarity ensues. Meanwhile, Ernest picks up this runaway girl that is kind of creepy throughout the movie, even though Ernest is wholesome. And at the end, Christmas is saved. So, Boz, I don't know if we did these in order. If you did these in any particular order, start with your bottom one and we'll work to the top. If there's no particular order, what is your first top moment from Ernest Saves Christmas?
I don't really have a moment here for this one. I just want to say this will be my moment, but it covers Ernest. Ernest knocks it out in this movie. Okay, his characters, the characters that he does, and they're on the screen. I know you've seen the movie a ton of times. You could probably list every character. All I'm saying is,
surprisingly, I don't know their names. Like I don't know the old ladies' names. I don't know what the name of the snake handler is, but I do know the characters like the back of my hand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, he did a great job with these characters. I mean, they're only. It seems like there's a stretch of the movie, about a 15-minute stretch toward middle to end of the movie, where there's like 4 or 5 characters in a row, and they're only on the screen for like 2 minutes, maybe. But he knocks it out. He does a great job. This will be a moment right here. One of the funniest moments of the movie was when he was the snake handler. goes to the movie set, right? Gets into the movie set. My Lord! First off, how dirty does that man look? Whatever they did to him to get him look like that is disgusting. But he played the role great. But his face, when they come out there and dump snakes into the back of his face, I laughed out loud because he was like terrified looking. And I thought he played that part great. So I got to give him props there. That's one of my moments.
What's great about
that
character?
scene was great. He did that. That looking around thing he does, he was freaking out.
What's great about that character is it's so over the top ridiculous, but people like that out there really exist. You base that off people from Kentucky, from southern Mississippi, from Alabama, from Arkansas, somewhere near a swamp. There's
Yeah.
going to be a guy that looks and acts like that. The voice is great. The way he's got a couple of his teeth blacked out is amazing. And it was a way that he could sneak Santa Claus onto the lot to meet Joe Carruthers to tell him he needs to be the new Santa Claus. And he's got like Santa Claus underneath a tarp with a bunch of water
Garden
hose
hoses,
stuff.
like poking at it. Yeah.
And he's like, you want one for your boy. I gave one to my boy one time. And then he like puts the hat over his heart, like the snakes killed his boy. And it's great. And it's the great lines. All these movie people want.
That's all these movie people want.
Poison. Poisonous snakes. So Boz is absolutely right. And when they bring the snakes and real snakes get dumped into the back of his truck, you get the great scene of him and Santa Claus, parked off in the woods, and Ernest is throwing the snakes out of the back of the truck, and he turns around and like the snakes have bitten into his face and are just stuck to him. Great character. I think this Ernest movie checks all the boxes, and it's also, if it makes sense, and this would be a better discussion. I don't know how familiar you are with Jim Varney and Ernest, if you're a huge super fan like me and Blake, but I like to think of like Ace Ventura. In Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, he's borderline insane, but there's moments of of a human being there that you can say, okay, well, there's his normal side. And the reason I bring that up is in Ernest Goes to Camp, there's all the crazy Ernest shenanigans, but you have multiple scenes where you see Ernest is just a tender-hearted guy. He actually has feelings.
He has a heart. Oh, yeah.
Screwing over the chief, and there is some common sense there. It's not just a character all the time. This movie, sort of like Ace Ventura 2, Ernest hits the ground running, and I'm not sure there may still be like a couple of moments in this movie where you get like real guy Ernest. And I think maybe the closest to that is going to be when he's talking to the old lady about Santa, possibly, or maybe when he's talking to Harmony Star before he burns his hands. But it's more of a character in this movie than he is in the other one. So there's not really like a real human being there to go, oh, okay, well, Ernest is like 100 miles per hour. Yeah. The minute we see him in the cab when the movie starts to the very end of the movie where he jumps on the sleigh and gets the hell out of there. So overall, I think Ernest Saves Christmas is a better movie for it, because I'm not sure there's any room for Ernest to be normal in the middle of all this chaos that takes place over a 24-hour span.
You're right. He's over the top from the jump in this movie. I have seen the other movies. The only one I really remember, parts and pieces of is Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's another one I want to watch. It's been forever since I've seen that. But yeah, he's on 10 from the jump in this movie.
If this movie didn't hold up for you and put a good taste in your mouth, you're going to absolutely loathe Ernest Scared Stupid, because that's when Ernest started getting too stupid for me. I mean, not to make a play on words for the title, but way too many characters in that movie.
Okay. Wow.
I like a little bit of seriousness from my Ernest. My first moment, Boz, is going to be Chuck and Bobby. Now, these are multiple moments merged into one, but it's going to be a great Ernest movie when you have Chuck and Bobby. And unfortunately for us, Chuck and Bobby were in the TV show, the Saturday morning TV show. We didn't get them in Ernest Goes to Camp, but we got them in Ernest Saves Christmas, and we got them in Ernest Goes to Jail, and they are great as the airport. What do you call those guys? Luggage guys, check-in guys?
They kind of did it all. They were doing the luggage, then they were in like the hangar area, then they were in the warehouse area. I don't know what their job title is. They were like, are they the only two that work at this airport? Who
could possibly be working on December 24th? That's Christmas Eve. Us who, Bobby? Rain, sleet, the Super Bowl. I mean, they're great. Chuck with his eyes going back and forth. Helper Elms, which is the joke. It's Helper Elves is who they're supposed to give the reindeer to. The reindeer busting out of the boxes, the reactions these guys, the reindeer on the roof, and their big solution is just to open up an umbrella. Ernest movies over and over. I had no idea they were opening up the umbrella so the reindeer wouldn't on them because they're wild. Just randomly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow, they were up there a while too.
Yeah.
I didn't even, yeah, wow.
It would have added to the movie if every time it was showed them, you just seen more shit.
Just droplets in the background.
In the background. But Chuck and Bobby are one of my favorite. Besides Ernest, they're my favorite part of this movie. I think it made the movie flow well to go back and forth to those guys who do a lot of hard work at the airport. And when Ernest tries to come get the reindeer, they're like, "Are you Elms? Well, we're working on some helper Elms."
Mm-hmm.
And then these little elves walk in. Elves, you got any proof? And they raise their hat up and they got the elf ears. They're just about to do it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of security that caused 9/11. So
no, you're right. Those two guys, to me, they were the MVPs of the movie. They were every time they were on. What's the other guy's name that doesn't talk?
Bobby.
He was hilarious. Dude, all he said the whole movie was like a letter. M.
Is that M?
B. F.
V.
At the end. B. It's hilarious. He was great. His eyes were great. The other guy was really good too, though, because I mean, he was kind of the guy that was actually speaking for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when they were on the screen. Like I could watch a movie just with them two doing something.
It was a great way to transition, and the great part of these Ernest movies. And if we review all of them, I'll say this in every movie. I think his name's John Cherry, the guy that directed it, was also the guy that directed all of the Ernest commercials. So they brought all that magic with them to the big screen, if that makes sense. So and I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit, but they kept it. Ernest stayed true to what made Ernest famous. And having Chuck and Bobby as the transition every time before another scene was really good. All right, what's your next top moment?
All right, this one is I guess this is my last moment too, number 3.
What was you only said one. What was the second one?
I said just his character's development of so many different characters. It wasn't a moment, but it was just like the top.
So all 40 characters are your top
40. Well, no, it was that stretch. Like in the middle there where he did back to back to back. It was like so many different characters. Number 2 is the two guys from the airport. And number 3, this is just one line near the end when he's on the sleigh in space. They're doing the loops and all this stuff. And if you don't catch it, you'll miss it. But he says, like, the sleigh stops and they're just kind of like sitting there. And he says, "Nobody moves.
Nobody moves. Nobody dies."
Nobody dies. And I laughed so hard because he sounded so serious. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. And dude, if you don't remember that part, you got to go back and watch it. It is so it's so serious. I think that's why it was so different than everything else in the movie. He says nobody dies.
Nobody
What is he
moves.
talking about? Yeah.
Nobody dies. So that works into my second moment is Ernest driving the sleigh. So Ernest flattens the tires of the moving truck. So he decides him and the elves are going to ride the sleigh to try to find Santa Claus. And like Boz is talking about, they're shooting all over Orlando, Florida, where this movie takes place. They're getting them on the radar screen, the military base. What's going on? They're going through stuff. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And the elves are screaming, "He's going to kill us. He's going to kill us." They're shooting straight up in the air. And your favorite line was, because at this point, they're over the earth. He's flown out of the earth. They're in space. And they're like, "Nobody moves. Nobody dies." And the elves are covered up in the back.
Yeah.
But my favorite line is right after they've taken off and it's going all over the place. He just randomly goes, "I need oxygen." And he grabs, I guess they have an oxygen tank or a tube, and he grabs it and puts it to his nose as it's like shooting all over the place. And as a kid, you don't know that the damn sleigh is so high in the air he can't breathe.
Yeah.
That's the reason he needs oxygen. They're above the earth, and he gives that line that Boz says, and one of those elves sneeze, and they go straight down, missile style, all the way to about this far, with Ernest pulling those reins, screaming, "Slow down!" They're all it's going to be the worst death scene you've ever seen, right there in the street by the children's center. All the reindeer dead, everybody dead, and the reindeer stop like this far from the road, and he like air brakes.
Air brakes.
And he gives a little laugh. It's great.
Laugh.
But Ernest, my second moment, Ernest on the sled was great. It really was.
All right, you're number 3.
Okay, so it's actually my best moment of the movie, and I was talking about John Cherry keeping the Ernest feeling alive in this movie and every movie that he directed. Ernest is famous for hawking products all throughout the South, whether it be Mountain Dew, Sprite, whatever. And he's always talking to Vern.
You know, Vern, there's nothing like touring around Florida, enjoying the great liming taste of Sprite.
I mean, Vern is Vern is us, the point of view of the camera. You never see who Vern is.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Harmony, they're going to see my friend Vern. I taught him everything he knows about nuclear physics or whatever. And the moment where he opens the door and the camera becomes the audience, and he's like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And Vern slams the door in his face.
Ho, 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 Vern. Merry.
And she's like, is this guy? I thought this guy was a friend of yours. Oh, he's just playing. And then we get the first person view of the camera as he kicks the door in with the tree. And the damage he does to Vern's house in 30 seconds is amazing. He comes in, he's running his mouth. This is Harmony doing a little father figure action. As the twig is bent, so shall grow the tree, or whatever he's saying. Is he's going through with this tree. He's knocking shit off the shelves. You hear stuff breaking. He packs into a section over there. Vern's getting ready to have a party, and he's trying to work this tree into the thing. He goes,
oh, party punch. Yeah, that ought to hold.
ooh, party punch. And he bends over and he
falls
the whole bowl up. Instead of getting a scooper, he drinks from the bowl, and all you hear is like him blowing bubbles in there as he drinks, ruining all the punch. And then the tree falls over, and you hear it break, and then he's trying to unplug something, and it's going through the wall. He destroys Vern's house while talking to Vern in a minute and a half of screen time, and it's amazing. It's the best scene in the movie to me. It feels just like it may be the best scene of any Ernest movie that's out there. That's how great this scene is to me. Ernest in Vern's house, bringing him a tree. It's everything that Ernest should be. This is a great movie, and that's my last moment. Okay. I mean, and this movie has a lot of different story aspects to it. There's a girl that run away. There's Santa Claus trying to give up the power to another guy who might possibly not want to be Santa Claus, and he's trying to get a career as an actor. And it's just a lot of stuff woven into, and at the end, we get a new Santa Claus. He saves the day. We get snow in Orlando, and Ernest gets to fly the sleigh again as it's ho, 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 Merry Christmas. So
the old Santa falls in love at the end?
Yeah. Gonna get some
his name change? That
he goes back to being, what was his name?
They say it? They do say it, don't they?
Once upon a time, I was known as I can't remember it. I've seen this movie a million times.
You're right. No, they do mention it.
Yeah, he says his name. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, you want to rate this bad boy, or you just go with topic?
Yeah, we'll rate it. I'll go first. I'll give this a 4 out of 10. I have no desire to ever watch this movie ever again. I was
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's Christmas.
I enjoyed this movie so much when I was younger. I didn't understand.
You got old.
Well, I kind of hated that I didn't like this movie, because I did, man. I used to love these movies when I was younger. I was very confused about, like, when this movie came out, who is the audience for in this movie?
It's for Ernest fans.
Is it just Ernest fans? Because it's so silly and over the top that I feel like it's not for adults. But there's not enough like young characters or moments for children.
That is a great point.
It's very niche. Like my kids were not interested in all. They were in there watching, and they were just, after a few minutes they were done.
I think all the Ernest movies are geared towards adults, if that makes sense. But there are kid elements in every movie. Like Harmony Star is there for the kids to, associate with. So is Santa Claus. All the skits. Once upon a time, my name was Seth Applegate. I had to look it up, but that's what Santa Claus's name was in Ernest Saves Christmas. And like I said, he's going to be clapping cheeks at the very end of that movie. I'm going to give this a 6.1. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's a great movie. It's always going to be good to me. Nostalgia factor. I grew up on it. I can watch it a million times. Ask my wife right now. She loves Ernest Saves Christmas, so she's just messed up as I am. It's a great movie. Either you get Ernest or you don't. I mean, it's that simple.
The thing is, I like Ernest. I like the character, and I think he's great. The actor
Well, then what's the problem?
Phenomenal. It's the whole story, and I don't know. I guess I liked him to a certain point, and then I was like over it. Does that make sense? Like
It does.
At some point, I'm like, okay, he does a bit, and he kind of just does that bit. That bit's funny, but then it's just like it gets old.
If they could have wrapped this movie up in 45 minutes, we'll just hit the high parts. You love it.
I did a lot of time watching the second half of this movie. You're right.
What do you think about Santa's sack in there? I'm not talking about what's between Seth Applegate's legs. I'm talking about Santa's actual sack with his toys in it. The fact that Ernest can pull out a orb and then it changes into whatever the person asked for.
Right.
Like we get the whole scene where Ernest is like, he does the ooh that he did. Mm-hmm. Ernest goes to
he's
camp.
pouring in front of the girl and
that's like a great scene whenever it's the Nutcracker and he's like,
yeah.
Trying to get her to laugh. What's great is she goes the whole movie saying Santa's not real, and she sees that this man
all the evidence. What is she talking about?
He calls her by her name, Pamela. I got you confused with somebody that ran away. Your mother must be worried about you.
It said something about he gave her maybe an earlier gift that only she would have known about.
Brought her a doll instead of a baseball mitt like she asked for. He knows all this stuff, yet she still chooses to believe that Santa Claus is not real. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Anyway, 6.1 for me. I love this movie. I love Ernest. I love Christmas. You mix them together, I'm going to love it. Boz is being a Scrooge about this. He's lost the Christmas spirit.
Oh, no, I've never lost the Christmas spirit.
He needs to shake hands with Santa.
I love Christmas just like I love ranking months, which we're going to do soon.
We will do that soon. Top X, best months, top 10 months coming soon. Hit us in the comments. What is your score for Ernest Saves Christmas? What is your top moment for Ernest Saves Christmas? Be sure to tell Boz how wrong he is about this movie. It's a classic movie. It's Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption, Jim Varney right underneath that, and Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yes.
That's the way it goes. We riffed on Silent Night, Deadly Night about a week and a half ago, whenever it was. If you guys want to check that, it's behind the paywall. You can see that by becoming a Grumpy Goat member on YouTube or Patreon. Christmas is either here, Boz, or it was yesterday, or it's going to happen soon whenever I release this video. So Merry Christmas to you, Boz. Thank you for all the help over this last year and all the help you're going to give me next year that you don't know about it. And Merry Christmas to everybody watching this video.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
We'll see you guys later.